Afternoon everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. So as for today we are doing the introduction to ecology, which is a very much important topic in biology. So when introducing the topic ecology, we need to know the terms that are used in ecology and their meaning. So to begin with, we must define the topic in question, which is ecology. So what is ecology? So ecology is simply the study of living organisms. Now, what do we mean? So, it is the study of how living organisms interact with each other as well as the non-living environment. So, the way the organisms are able to interact with each other, now that study is what we call ecology. Moving on, we have another term that is used in ecology, which is an ecosystem. So, what is an ecosystem? So, an ecosystem is a definable area of land that is made up of communities that are able to interact with each other as well as their non-living environment. So if organisms are living in the same community and they are able to interact or socialize with each other as well as the non-living environment, such as the tree, the mountains, then that is the ecosystem. So get the difference. Ecology is the study. So as you study the ecosystem, that's ecology. Now, ecosystem is a definable area of land made up of organisms that are able to interact with each other as well as the non-living environment. So we are breaking it up. In ecosystem, we have used the term community. So it is therefore crucial for us to understand what the community is. So the community is just a group of different populations living together in an area, interacting with each other as well as their non-living environment. So if a place has got a group of different populations, what are these populations? We might have the populations of lions, we might have the population of birds, we might also have the population of people as we know. So if those are living together in an area, they are able to form what we call the community. So it is very much crucial for us to understand the differences. Then from there, we need to define or understand what population is. So what do you think is population? So population is simply a group of organisms living together. A group of the same organisms living together. Now these same organisms are referred to as what we call species. So a group of species living together in an area. So it is now therefore crucial for us to also understand the term species. So species is simply organisms that are able to interbreed to give what we call fertile offsprings. So for example, two humans, they are able to mate to produce an offspring which is fertile. So that is a population. A population must be made of organisms of the same species that are able to interbreed to give what we call fertile offspring. So another important term that is used in ecology is what we call the habitat. So an habitat, as you know, it is just a place where organisms live. So for a place, it could be any place, but for a place to be called an habitat, it must be able to favorably sustain the organism. For example, when we are talking about earthworms, their habitat is in damp, moist soils. So that damp, moist soils prevents their body from drying up. So since that's the case, it means to say the habitat should be able to have the conducive environment as well as the conditions that must be favorable for the organism's survival. Another term that is used in ecology is what we call the niche. So what do you understand by the term niche? The niche is simply the particular or the specific role that an organism plays in an ecosystem. For example, we generally know to say bacteria are decomposers, plants are producers due to their ability to photosynthesize. So that is the niche, the specific role that an organism plays in an ecosystem. We also have the factor which we call the biotic factors. Just as you know it, bio means life. So biotic factors refers to living organisms. So the biotic factors include maybe earthworms, humans, as long as it's a living thing. That is what we call biotic factors. Now, the opposite of biotic factors, which is the question that they mostly ask in an exam, is abiotic factor. With this word, just with the addition of an A. Abiotic factors of the ecosystem are organisms, or rather things that are non-living. In other terms, you can say it is made up of non-living things. For example, we might have mountains. Mountains are non-living. So that is an example of abiotic factors, the sun, among others. Then we also have the carrying capacity. So as we understand ecology, for it to live, maybe for us to study ecology, organisms must be able to survive. So what term is used? It is what we call carrying capacity. So what is carrying capacity? Carrying capacity is simply defined as the maximum or the total number of organisms that an ecosystem can sustain. So an ecosystem, remember, will be made up of different things such as producers. So if an ecosystem is able to sustain 50,000 organisms, then that is what we call carrying capacity. Then the other term that is used is biomass. Biomass. Biomass is just defined as the total dry weight of an organism, which simply means to say an organism without water. So that is how the introduction to ecology is. So the terms that are used, never forget, we have ecology, ecosystem, the community, the habitat, the niche, the abiotic factors, carrying capacity, and biomass. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you will subscribe and follow for more.